Every wolf child grows up hearing the same story. Somewhere in the world, the moon goddess has woven a golden thread from your soul to another's. When you meet them, you'll know. When they mark you, you'll be complete. The mate bond is destiny made flesh, proof that you were always meant to be loved, to belong, to be enough. The story is beautiful. It's also a trap. They tell us it's magic. They're lying. Because when you're standing in your sister's wedding dress, watching the man who was supposed to be hers stare at you with eyes that have turned from ceremonial gold to hunting amber, when his canines descend, and every wolf in the ceremony hall drops to their knees in submission except you, because you can't, because you've never shifted. Not once in your 23 years, you learn the brutal and bitter truth. A mark isn't a blessing. It's a brand. And I should know. Because 3 hours ago, Alpha Damien Blackthorn marked me in front of 300 witnesses. Not my sister Celeste, the perfect golden wolf, the one he was supposed to claim. Not the daughter my father actually values, the one who shifts like breathing, who'll give him grandchildren to carry on our pack's bloodline. Me, Pamela Lachlan. The broken one. The human born in a family of wolves. The barren mistake who'll never give him an heir. And now, as I stand in the bridal chamber of the Blackthorn estate, still wearing Celeste's dress because of course I am. Because nothing about this day was meant for me watching the door handle turn, I'm about to face the monster who destroyed both our lives with one inexplicable, irreversible choice. The door opens, and I learn that some mistakes, once made, devour everything. Chapter 1. The Wrong Bride. 6 hours earlier. The wedding dress doesn't fit. Of course it doesn't. Celeste is taller, fuller, more in every way that matters. The bodice gapes at my chest, the hem pools around my feet, and the intricate silver embroidery wolves running beneath a full moon seems to mock me with every thread. Hold still. My mother hisses, yanking the corset laces tighter. She's been crying, but not for me. Never for me. I can't believe she'd do this. Today of all days. She's sick, Mother. My voice comes out steadier than I feel. The healer said. The healer said she'd be fine by noon. Mother's fingers work frantically, pulling fabric, pinning, adjusting. That was 5 hours ago. And now we have 300 guests, an alpha waiting at the altar, and a treaty that will collapse if we don't produce a bride. I don't point out the obvious, that I am not a bride, that I'm a placeholder, a body to fill a dress until my sister recovers from whatever mysterious illness struck her this morning. I've learned that pointing out obvious things only makes Mother angrier. The veil will help, she mutters, more to herself than me. Keep it down. Don't speak unless spoken to. And for Moon's sake, Pamela, try not to look so. She waves her hand vaguely at my face. So plain. Plain. Yes, that's the kindest word she's ever used. My sister is sunlight and honey, all golden hair, and warm brown eyes that shift to wolf amber when her emotions run high. She's curves and confidence, and the kind of beauty that makes visiting alphas stammer. I am shadow and stone, dark hair that won't hold a curl, gray eyes that my father once said looked dead, like a human's. I'm too thin, too angular, too other in a family of wolves who move through the world with liquid grace. And I'm barren. That's the real sin, isn't it? Not that I can't shift, plenty of late bloomers exist, though none quite as late as me. No, the unforgivable part is what the healers discovered when I was 16. My womb is hostile, scarred by some unnamed condition. I will never carry children. I will never pass on my father's bloodline. I will never be useful. There. Mother steps back, surveying her work with the same expression she uses when examining spoiled meat. It'll have to do. Remember, you're just standing in until Celeste arrives. The moment she's well enough, we'll make the switch. Alpha Blackthorn will never know. But I know. And so does Father, who appears in the doorway wearing his ceremonial robes and an expression of such profound disappointment that I feel it like a physical weight. Is she ready? He asks Mother, as if I'm not standing right here. As ready as possible, given the circumstances. Father's jaw tightens. He's alpha of the Lachlan pack, a position he's held for 30 years through sheer ruthlessness. He's never forgiven me for being born wrong, for being the firstborn daughter who should have been a son, who should have been anything but what I am. Listen carefully, Pamela. He doesn't look at me as he speaks. You will walk down that aisle. You will stand at the altar. When the priest asks the questions, you will nod, do not speak. Your voice is too different from Celeste's. When it comes time for the marking, he pauses, something flickering across his face. Fear? No. Calculation. The veil should prevent any complications. The ceremony is binding regardless of whether he marks you or your sister. What matters is the treaty. Do you understand? Yes, Father. And Pamela? Now he does look at me, and I see it clearly. I am not his daughter in this moment. I am a tool, a means to an end. If you ruin this, if you cost me this alliance with the Blackthorn Pack, I will have no choice but to dissolve your place in this family. We'll send you to the human settlements. You've always been more human than wolf anyway. The threat lands like a blade between my ribs. The human settlements where packless wolves go to die slowly, cut off from pack bonds, from purpose, from everything that gives life meaning. I understand, I whisper. Good. He turns to leave, then pauses. Your sister is the valuable one, Pamela. Remember that. Whatever happens today, Celeste's happiness matters more than yours ever will. He leaves. Mother follows, already dabbing at her tears with a silk handkerchief. Neither looks back. I stand alone in the bridal chamber, wrapped in my sister's dress, about to play my sister's role, and I do what I've always done when reality becomes unbearable. I tell myself a story. Once upon a time, there was a girl made of moonlight and wishes. She wasn't broken, she was different. And different, in the right story, can be magical. But the knock at the door shatters my escape. It's time. The ceremony hall is magnificent and terrifying in equal measure. 300 wolves from a dozen packs fill the space, their collective power making the air thick and electric. I feel it pressing against my skin, all that other that I can't access, that I'll never be part of. My father's beta, Thomas, escorts me down the aisle. I keep my eyes down, watching my feet to avoid tripping in the too long hem. The veil is thick enough that faces blur into shapes, colors into impressions. But I feel him before I see him. Alpha Damien Blackthorn. The power rolling off him is suffocating, massive, ancient. He's only 30, but he commands the largest pack in the Northern Territories. Rumors say he killed his own father in a challenge. Rumors say he's never lost a fight. Rumors say he's chosen Celeste as his mate, because he needs a strong Luna to bear strong heirs. I am none of those things. Thomas deposits me at the altar and steps back. I risk a glance up, just one, and immediately wish I hadn't. Damien Blackthorn is beautiful, the way a predator is beautiful. All sharp lines and controlled violence, dark hair, darker eyes, a jaw that could cut glass. He's wearing traditional ceremonial black silver embroidery matching the wolves on my dress, pack bonds made visible. He's staring at me. No, not staring. Studying. His head tilts slightly, nostrils flaring as he scents the air. Can he tell? Do I smell wrong? Different from Celeste? The priest begins the ceremony, words I barely hear over the thundering of my pulse. I nod when I'm supposed to nod. I extend my hand when prompted. The priest binds our wrists together with silver cord, symbolic, painful for wolves, impossible for me to feel the way they do. Do you, Celeste Lachlan, accept this alpha as your mate, your pack as your own, your bond as eternal? I nod, silent, obedient. And do you, Damien Blackthorn, accept this wolf as your mate, your Luna, your bond as eternal? I do. His voice is gravel and smoke. Then, by the power of the moon goddess and the ancient laws of our kind, I pronounce you mated, Alpha. You may mark your Luna. This is it. The moment where Celeste should be standing, where his bite should seal their bond. But the veil will hide the deception. He'll mark fabric and skin, never knowing it's the wrong neck, and by tomorrow, when Celeste is recovered, they'll perform a private ceremony to correct everything. That's the plan. Damien steps closer. His hand comes up to lift the veil, and I freeze. We didn't account for this. The priest said the veil could stay, but his fingers are already pulling it back, revealing my face inch by inch. Our eyes meet. His widen, and something happens that I don't understand, something that makes every wolf in the hall gasp in unison. His eyes flood with pure gold, not wolf amber, gold. Ancient, primal, terrifying gold. You, he breathes. And it's not a question. It's a recognition. I'm sorry. I stammer, breaking my silence. Panic clawing up my throat. Celeste is sick. But I don't get to finish. Because Damien Blackthorne grabs my face in both hands and kisses me like he's drowning and I'm air. And then before I can process, before I can breathe, his teeth descend, and he bites. The mark burns into my neck like a brand, like lightning, like every nerve in my body catching fire at once. I hear screaming mine, maybe, or the collective shock of 300 witnesses. The silver cord around our wrists glows white hot, then shatters. And every wolf in the hall except me drops to their knees in submission. Because an alpha has just claimed his true mate, and his true mate can't even shift. Chapter 2. The Beast's Bargain. The chaos is immediate and absolute. My father surges forward, his face a mask of fury and disbelief. What have you done? He roars at Damien, but his eyes are on me, burning with a hatred so pure it steals my breath. You were supposed to. Silence. One word. That's all it takes. Damien doesn't raise his voice, doesn't move, but the command in it makes my father's jaw snap shut mid-sentence. The alpha power rolling off Damien now is suffocating, primal, nothing like the controlled presence from before. This is what he was holding back. This is what an alpha truly is. And his hand is still on my neck, covering the mark that burns like molten silver. The ceremony is complete, the priest stammers, his face pale. The bond it's sealed. I've never seen the gold eyes, that only happens with true. I'm aware. Damien's voice is ice. His thumb moves against my neck, and I bite back a whimper as the touch sends fire through my veins. My Luna needs rest. We'll retire to the bridal chamber. She's not your Luna. My mother's voice cracks through the hall. She's defective. She can't shift. She can't bear children. She's mine. The word comes out as a growl that makes the windows rattle. Anyone who speaks against my mate answers to me. Is that clear? Silence. 300 wolves too terrified to breathe. Damien's eyes finally leave me to scan the crowd, and what I see in his face makes my blood run cold. This isn't the expression of a man who's found his true mate. This is rage, barely contained. This is a trap sprung, a plan ruined. This is a man who's just made a catastrophic mistake. Thomas, my father's beta, steps forward, head bowed. Escort Alpha Blackthorne and his bride to the bridal chamber. Clear the halls. I want this building empty in 10 minutes. But the reception, someone begins. Now. The crowd disperses like smoke. Damien's hand moves from my neck to my elbow. His grip firm but not painful. He doesn't look at me as Thomas leads us through the corridors of the Blackthorne estate because this is his territory now, his home, the place I'll be expected to live and serve, and somehow be Luna to a pack that just watched their alpha mark the one wolf in the entire territory who can't even shift. The bridal chamber is enormous. Dark wood, darker fabrics, a bed large enough to sleep 5 people. There's a fireplace, bookshelves lining one wall, and windows that overlook the forest. It should be beautiful. It feels like a cage. Thomas closes the door behind us, and suddenly we're alone. Truly alone. Damien releases my elbow and crosses to the window. His back to me, shoulders rigid with tension. I stand frozen in Celeste's wedding dress, my neck still burning, my mind unable to process what just happened. The silence stretches, becomes unbearable. I'm sorry, I whisper. He laughs. It's a bitter, broken sound. You're sorry. I didn't know. They said the veil would hide it, that you'd mark Celeste later when she recovered. I was just supposed to stand there and your family used you as a placeholder. He still doesn't turn around. A decoy bride. How very efficient of them. They had no choice. The treaty required an Lachlan daughter. Any Lachlan daughter. Now he does turn, and the look on his face makes me step back. Tell me, Pamela, it is Pamela, isn't it? The broken one? Did you know what would happen when I lifted that veil? No. I swear I didn't, because I did. He moves toward me, and I force myself not to retreat further. I knew the moment I scented you walking down that aisle. Wrong scent. Too light. Too human. I knew, and I lifted the veil anyway because I thought. He stops himself, jaw clenching. It doesn't matter what I thought. Then why? The question bursts out before I can stop it. Why did you mark me? If you knew I wasn't Celeste, why? Because you looked at me. The words are quiet. Almost lost. He's close now. Close enough that I can see the gold still flickering in his eyes. Fighting with his normal dark brown. Close enough that his scent pine and smoke and something wild overwhelms my senses. You looked at me, he repeats, and you weren't afraid. Every wolf in that hall fears me. Your sister fears me. I could smell it in her letters, in every interaction we've had. She wants to be Luna for the power, the status. She'd endure me to get it. But you. His hand comes up, and I flinch, but he only brushes a strand of hair from my face. You looked at me like I was just a man, like I was something other than a monster to be endured or a throne to be conquered. And I thought, fool that I am, I thought perhaps. He doesn't finish, doesn't need to. I understand what he's not saying. He thought perhaps I could be different, could see him differently, could be the mate he actually wanted, instead of the political alliance he needed. And then he discovered what I am. What I can't be. I'm barren, I say, because he needs to hear it plainly. The healers confirmed it years ago. I'll never give you children. Never give you an heir. And I can't shift, I've never shifted, not once. I don't know if I even have a wolf. I'm broken, he finishes. Yes, I heard your mother. Everyone heard your mother. His hand drops. And now we're both trapped. The mark is permanent. The bond is sealed. There's no undoing it without killing one of us. The words land like stones in my chest. Then you'll have to kill you? His laugh is sharp. No. That would make me look weak. An alpha who can't control his own instincts, who marks the wrong bride. I'd lose everything. The pack would fracture. Challengers would come. Then what? My voice cracks. What do we do? He's quiet for a long moment, studying me with those unsettling eyes. Then, tell me a story. I blink. What? You heard me. I saw you at the altar, before the ceremony started. Your lips were moving, like you were talking to yourself, telling yourself something. He crosses to a chair by the fireplace and sits, the picture of casual power. So tell me, what story were you telling? This feels like a test. Like if I answer wrong, something terrible will happen. But I've never been good at lying. And the truth spills out before I can stop it. I was telling myself that I was a girl made of moonlight and wishes. That being different wasn't the same as being broken. That in the right story, different can be magical. And do you believe that? No. The admission hurts. No. I think different is just broken wearing a prettier name. Something shifts in his expression. Not quite softness, but something less sharp. You're honest, at least. That's rare. He leans back, draping one arm over the chair. Here's the situation, Pamela. We're mated. The bond is real, permanent, and public. Rejecting you would destroy my reputation. Keeping you destroys my bloodline. I need heirs, strong wolf heirs, to maintain my pack's position. You can't give me that. Each word is a knife. I know. I've always known. This is why Father was willing to send me to the human settlements. This is why no wolf has ever wanted me. But, Damien continues, there may be a solution. A workaround. Hope flares, stupid and painful. What kind of solution? An heir doesn't have to come from my mate. Not technically. The pack laws require that I have an heir, not that my Luna produce one. If I were to acquire a child by other means, and you acknowledged it as yours, the pack would accept it. Understanding crashes over me like ice water. You want to take a mistress. A breeding partner. Clinical. Temporary. The child would be raised as ours. You would be Luna in name, she would be a necessity. No one would need to know the truth except the three of us. And what would I be? In this arrangement? Safe. The word carries weight. You'd have position, protection, a home. You'd never be sent to the human settlements. You'd have access to the library. I noticed you looking at the books in here. I have over 10,000 volumes. You'd have freedom, within reason. All you'd have to do is play the role. Attend functions, smile, pretend. It's a generous offer. By any objective measure, more than I'd ever dreamed of having. Security, books, a purpose, even if it's just decorative. But something in me rebels at the thought. And what if I refuse? I ask quietly. His expression hardens. Then I'll invoke the ancient laws. You're my mate. Marked and bonded. I have rights over you that supersede pack law. I could keep you locked in this room. I could use you however I wished. I could make your life very, very unpleasant until you agreed. He pauses. I won't do those things for what it's worth. But I could. That's the reality of what you are now. Mine, whether either of us wanted it or not. The threat is clear, even wrapped in his restraint. This is the monster everyone fears. This is what lies beneath the civilized surface. And yet, what if, I hear myself say, I gave you something else instead? His eyebrow raises. And what could you possibly have that I want? A riddle. Silence. He stares at me like I've lost my mind. Maybe I have. A riddle, he repeats flatly. Yes, answer it correctly, and I'll agree to your arrangement. Everything you said, the mistress, the heir, playing Luna. I'll do it all without complaint. And if I answer incorrectly, then you give me 1 month. 1 month where you actually really try to see if this bond could be something real. No mistress. No arrangements. Just us. Figuring it out. I watch his face carefully. I've just gambled everything on an insane impulse, on the wild hope that maybe, just maybe, the man who marked me, because I looked at him like he was human, might actually want something more than a political solution. You're serious. He's leaning forward now, elbows on knees, studying me with new intensity. You want to bet your entire future on a riddle. I want, I say carefully, to be more than a pretty prison, more than a decoration, more than the broken wolf playing pretend. If I'm going to be trapped in this bond, I'd rather be trapped with someone who at least tried to see me as real. The silence stretches, the fire crackles. Somewhere in the distance, I hear the sounds of the estate settling, staff cleaning up from the ruined reception. Finally, Damien stands. He crosses to me, and this time I don't flinch when he reaches out to tilt my chin up, forcing me to meet his eyes. 1 riddle, he says. 1 chance. If I answer correctly, you become my obedient Luna, and I solve my heir problem my way. If I fail, I give you 1 month of. He searches for the word. Genuine effort. Yes. You understand that even if I lose, even if I give you that month, it might change nothing. You might still end up alone in a gilded cage while I do what's necessary for my pack. I understand. Then ask your riddle, little mate. Let's see if you're as clever as you are stubborn. I take a breath. This is insane. This is the stupidest thing I've ever done. But I'm already ruined. Already trapped. Already lost. What's one more risk? What is the thing that breaks when you name it, but grows stronger when you keep it? It can't be bought, can't be stolen, can't be forced. It's weightless but can carry the world. It's fragile but unbreakable. What is it? Damien's eyes narrow. He's thinking, really thinking. I can see the calculations running behind those dark eyes. The same sharp intelligence that's kept him alpha of the most powerful pack in the north. Silence, he finally says. That's the obvious answer. Breaks when you speak, grows in the keeping. But that's too simple for a bet this important, isn't it? Is that your answer? No. He begins to pace, and I notice for the first time how he moves controlled, precise, like violence waiting to be unleashed. Trust. Trust breaks when you name it, when you demand it outright. But trust grows in quiet keeping, in actions over time. It can't be forced, can't be bought. It's fragile but once truly given, nearly unbreakable. He's close, terrifyingly close, but not quite right. Is that your answer? I repeat. He stops pacing, turns to face me fully. Love, he says softly. The answer is love. It breaks the moment you demand it or name it as obligation. But real love grows stronger in the keeping, in the choosing day after day. It can't be forced, bought, or stolen. It's weightless but can carry impossible burdens. It's the most fragile thing in existence, and yet, when real, it's unbreakable. My heart stops. He's right. He's absolutely right. And I don't know if I want to laugh or cry, because this monster, this alpha everyone fears, this man who just offered to keep a mistress as a breeding vessel, he understood. He saw through the riddle to the real question beneath. Can there be love here, in this disaster, in this broken bond? You're right, I whisper. Something flashes across his face. Triumph? No. Something more complicated. He won the bet, which means I'm bound to his original arrangement. He gets his mistress, his heir, his perfect solution, and I get to be the pretty prison warden of my own life. Then it's settled. His voice is all business now. You'll be Luna in name. I'll be discreet with the breeding partner. We'll present a united front to the pack. You'll have your books and your freedom, and I'll have my heir. Everyone wins. Everyone wins. I echo numbly. He moves toward the door, and I realize he's leaving. Of course he is. This is our wedding night, but we're not really married. Not in any way that matters. And Damien. His name feels strange on my tongue. He pauses, hand on the doorknob. Why did you answer the riddle? You could have just ordered me. Forced your arrangement. You said yourself you have rights over me. He doesn't turn around. Because you asked me to see you as real, Pamela. And real things get choices, even when the choices are rigged. Then he's gone, and I'm alone in the bridal chamber wearing my sister's dress, marked by a man who sees me just clearly enough to know I'm not worth keeping. I sink onto the bed, and finally, I let myself cry. But even through the tears, even through the pain of the mark still burning on my neck, even through the devastating realization that I've just gambled everything and lost, a small, stubborn voice in my head whispers, he understood the riddle. He saw what you were really asking. That means something, doesn't it? I wrap my arms around myself, the wedding dress rustling in the silence, and I make myself a new promise. 1 month. I have 1 month to prove that I'm more than broken, more than barren, more than the mistake everyone thinks I am. 1 month to make him forget about mistresses and arrangements and clinical solutions. 1 month to make him see that the bond between us, this impossible, unwanted bond, might be the one thing neither of us knew we needed. The fire burns low, the mark throbs, and I begin to plan. Because if there's one thing I've learned from a lifetime of being unwanted, it's this. The broken things always have to fight harder to be kept. Chapter 3. The Nightly Ritual. I don't see Damien for 3 days. The servants bring meals I can't eat. They draw baths I sit in until the water turns cold. They lay out clothes, Luna clothes, fine silks and soft wools in deep colors that look wrong against my pale skin. Everything in the chamber is beautiful and suffocating. On the 4th morning, a woman arrives. She's older, maybe 50, with silver threading through her dark hair and eyes that have seen too much. She doesn't bow when she enters, doesn't avert her gaze the way the other servants do. I'm Margaret, she says, setting down a tray with actual food, bread, cheese, fruit, things that smell like they came from a kitchen instead of a formal dining hall. I was Luna before Damien's mother. Before she died, birthing him, and his father went mad with grief. I stare at her. Why are you telling me this? Because you need to understand what you've walked into. She settles into the chair by the fireplace, the same chair Damien sat in 4 nights ago. This pack has been without a proper Luna for 30 years. Damien's father rejected the bond after his mate died. He ruled alone, ruled cruelly. Damien killed him not for power, but for mercy, mercy for a pack being torn apart by an alpha's grief. I don't understand what this has to do with me. Don't you? Margaret's eyes are sharp. You're barren. Can't shift. By every measure, you're the worst possible choice for Luna, of the strongest pack in the north. And yet Damien marked you anyway, in front of everyone, knowing exactly what you are. The mark on my neck throbs as if responding to his name. It does that, sometimes pulses with warmth, with something that feels almost like longing. The bond trying to pull me toward a mate who doesn't want me. He made a mistake, I say quietly. He's already planning to fix it. Is he? Margaret stands, crossing to the bookshelf. She runs her fingers along the spines. Thousands of them. Leather and cloth and paper. Did you know Damien built this library himself? Not hired builders himself. Spent 5 years collecting books from every territory, every human settlement, every place he could find them. Do you know why? I shake my head. Because his mother loved stories. She'd tell them to him in the womb, singing tales of brave wolves and impossible loves. After she died, his father burned every book in the estate. Said stories were lies, that only strength mattered. So Damien waited. Grew strong. Killed his father. And then he built this library as a monument to the mother he never knew, and the father who tried to kill the soft parts of him. My throat tightens. I look at the shelves with new eyes, seeing not just books but a kind of devotion I didn't know alphas were capable of. He put you in this room, Margaret continues, the only room in the entire estate with access to his library. The only room he's ever brought anyone to. You think that's an accident? He needed somewhere to put me. This is the bridal chamber. The bridal chamber is 3 doors down. Larger, more ornate, with a balcony overlooking the gardens. Margaret's smile is sad. This is his private study, his sanctuary. And he gave it to you. Before I can process that, she moves to the door. He'll come tonight. He's been working up the courage. When he does, don't let him run. That man has spent his entire life being what everyone needed him to be: strong, ruthless, unbreakable. Show him he can be something else with you. I don't know how to. Yes, you do. You gave him a riddle about love, when you should have been negotiating for survival. You already know how to see past the monster. She pauses at the threshold. The question is whether you're brave enough to keep looking. Then she's gone, and I'm alone with 10,000 books and a dangerous seed of hope. He comes at midnight. I'm still awake, curled in the chair by the fireplace with a book I'm not really reading. I've been awake every night, waiting for something I can't name. The door opens silently, and Damien steps through like a shadow. He's not wearing his formal alpha clothes. Just dark pants and a loose shirt. Feet bare against the stone floor. He looks younger like this. Less terrifying. Almost human. You're awake, he says. So are you. I've been working. Pack business. He doesn't come closer, just stands by the door like he's ready to bolt. I wanted to check on you. Make sure you have everything you need. I have books, food. A room that's apparently not actually the bridal chamber. I close my book, setting it aside. Margaret told me this is your private study. His jaw tightens. Margaret talks too much. Why did you put me here? Because... He stops. Starts again. Because you asked me to see you as real. Real things deserve beauty. This room has always been the most beautiful place in the estate to me. The admission hangs between us. Vulnerable and sharp. Tell me about the book, he says suddenly, gesturing to the one I set down. What were you reading? I glance at it. Fairy tales. Human ones. Mostly. They're different from wolf stories. How? Wolf stories are about strength, about alphas and omegas, and pack hierarchy, about the strong protecting the weak. I pick up the book again, running my fingers over the worn cover. Human fairy tales are about transformation, about beasts becoming princes, about love breaking curses, about the broken things becoming whole. Which do you prefer? The question feels weighted, important. I used to prefer wolf stories. They made sense. Clear rules, clear roles. But now, I look up at him. Now I think maybe the human stories understood something we don't. That being broken isn't the end. That sometimes the beast is still the beast at the end. And that's okay because love isn't about transformation, it's about acceptance. Damien moves then, finally, crossing to the other chair. He sits, and we're positioned exactly as we were 4 nights ago, on opposite sides of the fireplace. But this time, there's no negotiation, no bargain, just 2 people in a quiet room. Read to me, he says. What? You wanted me to try, to give you a month of genuine effort. His eyes meet mine, and there's something raw in them. I'm trying. Read to me. Let me hear what you hear in those human stories. My hands shake as I open the book. I find a story at random, Beauty and the Beast, and begin to read. My voice is rough at first, uncertain, but it smooths as I fall into the rhythm of the tale. Damien listens without interrupting, his eyes never leaving my face. When I finish, silence settles like snow. The beast lets her go. Damien says finally. Even knowing it might kill him. Even knowing she might never return. He loves her enough to free her. Yes. That's not how our world works. Mates don't let each other go. The bond would drive them mad with separation. It's just a story. Is it? He leans forward. Or is it a map? A way of showing what love could be if we weren't all so terrified of losing control. I don't have an answer. We sit in silence, the fire crackling, and something shifts in the air between us. Not the bond that's always there. A steady pull beneath my ribs. This is something quieter, something chosen. Tomorrow night, Damien says. Standing. Same time. Bring a different story. You want me to read to you again? I want. He pauses at the door, his back to me. I want to understand why you bet everything on a riddle about love when you've never been loved properly in your life. Maybe the stories will help me understand. Then he's gone, and I'm left staring at the book in my hands, my heart beating too fast. He's coming back. He wants to understand. It's not love, not yet. Maybe not ever, but it's something. A beginning. A chance. And for a girl who's spent her whole life being nothing, a chance feels like everything. The nightly ritual becomes just that. A ritual. Every night at midnight, Damien appears. Every night, I read. Sometimes fairy tales, sometimes myths, sometimes poetry that makes his expression do complicated things. He never stays longer than an hour. Never touches me. Never mentions mistresses or arrangements, or the clinical solution he proposed. We just exist together in the quiet. And slowly, so slowly, I almost don't notice something builds between us. On the 7th night, he brings his own book. Read this one, he says, handing me a slim volume with a worn leather cover. It was my mother's favorite. The story is about a wolf who falls in love with the moon. He howls for her every night, knowing she can never come down, knowing he can never reach her. But he howls anyway. Because some loves are worth the impossibility. When I finish, my voice is thick with tears I don't quite understand. She used to say, Damien murmurs, that my father was her moon. Impossible, unreachable, but worth howling for anyway. He stares into the fire. And then she died. And he couldn't hear the howling anymore. Couldn't bear it. So he stopped listening to anything soft. Is that why you built the library? So you could keep hearing her? I built it because the world tried to make me like him. Hard. Closed. Convinced that soft things were weaknesses to be destroyed. His eyes find mine. But you stood at that altar in a dress that didn't fit, about to be married to a monster. And you told yourself a story about moonlight and wishes. Even knowing it was a lie, you chose the soft thing. The beautiful thing. I thought. He stops. What did you think? That maybe if someone like you could choose softness after everything that's broken you, maybe I could too. The confession sits between us, heavy and precious. I don't know what to say, how to respond to this glimpse of the man beneath the alpha. So I do what I always do when reality becomes too much. I tell a story. Once upon a time, I begin softly. There was a beast who lived in a castle full of books. He collected stories because he couldn't remember how to tell his own. And then one day, a girl arrived who couldn't shift, couldn't bear children, couldn't be anything the world wanted her to be. She should have been terrified of the beast. But instead, she saw something no one else had seen, that the beast was just as broken as she was, just as trapped, just as desperate for someone to see past the monster to the man. Damien's breathing has changed, gone shallow. And what happened to the beast and the girl? He asks quietly. I don't know yet. The story isn't finished. How does it end? I meet his eyes across the fireplace. How do you want it to end? He stands abruptly, and for a moment I think I've pushed too far, broken whatever fragile thing we've been building. But then he crosses to me, kneels in front of my chair, so we're eye level, and his hand comes up to cup my face with a gentleness that steals my breath. I want, he says, voice rough, to figure out how to be the beast who deserves the girl. But I don't know if I can be. I don't know if there's enough soft left in me after everything I've had to do, to be, to survive. Then let me help you find it. The words come out as a whisper. That's what the month is for, isn't it? Not to prove I'm enough for you, but to discover if we could be enough for each other? His thumb brushes my cheekbone, and the touch sends electricity through the bond. You're dangerous, little mate. You make me want impossible things. Like what? Like a real marriage. Like a partner instead of a political alliance. Like, he stops himself, jaw clenching. Like love? I finish for him. Yes, he breathes. Like love. The kind in your stories. The kind that accepts the beast without needing him to become a prince. My hand covers his, holding it against my face. Then stop calling it impossible and start calling it ours. For a long moment we stay like that, him kneeling, me in the chair, our hands tangled together, the fire casting shadows that make us look like one creature instead of two broken pieces trying to fit together. Then Damien stands, and I feel the loss of his touch like a physical ache. Tomorrow night, he says, moving toward the door. Same time. What story should I bring? He pauses at the threshold, and when he looks back, there's something almost like a smile on his face. Surprise me. You're good at that. When he's gone, I sit in the silence and let myself feel it. Hope. Real, dangerous, terrifying hope that maybe, just maybe, this disaster of a bond could become something beautiful. The mark on my neck pulses warm. And for the first time since he bit me, it doesn't feel like a brand. It feels like a promise. Don't forget to subscribe. Chapter 4. The Library of Secrets. On the 14th night, everything changes. I'm waiting in the usual chair, a book of old wolf legends in my lap, when Damien arrives early, not midnight 11. And he's not alone. Margaret follows him in, carrying a tray with 2 glasses and a crystal decanter filled with amber liquid. She sets it down without a word, but the look she gives me is pointed. Don't waste this. When she leaves, Damien pours 2 glasses. Whiskey, he says, offering me one. My mother's recipe. She used to make it from wildflowers and mountain honey. I take it, our fingers brushing. The bond hums at the contact, warm and insistent. You've never brought alcohol before. I've never needed courage before. He doesn't sit in his usual chair. Instead, he moves to the bookshelf, running his hand along the spines the way Margaret did 2 weeks ago. There's something I need to show you, but once I do, there's no taking it back. You'll know things about me that no one else knows, not even my beta. My heart hammers. Why me? Because you gave me a riddle about love and then spent 2 weeks reading me fairy tales like you actually believe in them. Because you're either the bravest person I've ever met, or the most foolish, and I haven't decided which yet. He pulls a book from the shelf, a large, leather-bound volume with no title. And because if I'm going to give you this month honestly, you need to understand what you're really asking for. He returns to the fireplace, but this time he sits on the floor, back against his chair, legs stretched out. It's so casual, so unlike the controlled alpha I've seen, that I find myself sliding down to join him. We sit side by side, shoulders almost touching, the book between us. This, Damien says, opening it, is the truth about the curse. The pages are filled with cramped handwriting journals. I realize. Personal accounts written in different hands across decades. What curse? I ask. The Blackthorn curse. The reason my father went mad. The reason I've never taken a mate before you. He flips through pages, and I catch fragments of sentences. Saw her in 3 forms. Couldn't distinguish which was real. The madness took him on the full moon. I don't understand. Damien takes a long drink of his whiskey, then sets the glass down with careful precision. Every Blackthorn alpha for the last 6 generations has been cursed. When we find our true mate, not a chosen mate, but the one the moon goddess marks for us, we see them in 3 different forms, 3 different versions of the same person. And we can't tell which one is real. Ice slides down my spine. 3 forms? My father saw my mother as 3 different women. One gentle and kind, one cold and manipulative, one wild and dangerous. He couldn't tell which was the truth, which was the curse playing with his perception. It drove him slowly insane, trying to love someone he couldn't truly see. When she died, he was almost relieved, at least in death. She could only be one thing. I search for words. That's horrifying. Yes. He turns a page, showing me a sketch. 3 women, identical in feature, but completely different in expression. This is what he drew of her, over and over, trying to understand, trying to see clearly. And you? My voice comes out smaller than I intend. Do you see me in 3 forms? His silence is answer enough. Tell me, I whisper. Damien's hand moves to the page, tracing the sketch. The first you is exactly what you appear to be. Broken, barren, human-souled. You can't shift. You'll never give me children. You're everything my pack shouldn't want in a Luna. Fragile, weak, a liability. Each word is a knife, but I force myself to stay still, to listen. The second you is different. She's cunning, playing a long game I can't see. She used the riddle to manipulate me. Used fairy tales to make me soft, vulnerable. She's patient, waiting for the perfect moment to destroy me from the inside, to take everything I've built and tear it apart. A spy, maybe, sent by my enemies, or just a woman smart enough to see weakness and exploit it. And the third? I can barely breathe. He finally looks at me, and his eyes are haunted. The third you is perfect. She's brave and honest and sees the world in stories because reality has been too cruel. She's barren not as a flaw but as a freedom. She can't be used for political breeding, can't be reduced to a womb. She's never shifted because she doesn't need to. Her strength is different, quieter but unbreakable. She's exactly what I've been howling for my entire life without knowing it. He pauses. And she's the one I'm most terrified of. Because if she's real and I push her away, I'll become my father. Mad and alone. Unable to bear the loss. Tears blur my vision. Which one do you think is real? That's the curse, Pamela. I can't know. Every moment with you, I'm seeing all three versions overlapping. When you read to me, is it because you genuinely love stories, or because you know it makes me vulnerable? When you touch my hand, is it honest affection, or careful manipulation? When you look at me like I'm something other than a monster, is it real or just the most perfect lie anyone's ever told me? So, what do we do? The question comes out broken. I don't know. He closes the book with a soft thud. My father chose wrong. He let the curse convince him my mother was dangerous, manipulative. He treated her accordingly, cold, suspicious, cruel. And it killed her. The healers said she died in childbirth, but I've read her journals. She died of a broken heart, long before her body gave out. He saw the wrong version and destroyed the real one. Is that why you proposed the arrangement? The mistress, the heir? Partly. If I keep you at a distance, if I never let myself fully believe in any version of you, then I can't be destroyed by choosing wrong. I can't become my father. His hand finds mine in the space between us, fingers tangling. But then you asked for stories. And every night, I see glimpses, moments where all three versions align, where I think maybe, just maybe, I can see the truth clearly. I turn my hand in his, palm to palm. The bond surges at the contact, warm and right and terrifying. What if the curse is the lie? What if there's only ever been one me, and the curse just makes you second-guess what you actually see? That's what I'm trying to figure out. His thumb traces circles on my palm. That's why I come here every night, why I listen to your stories, why I'm showing you this. I'm trying to see clearly, trying to distinguish between what's real and what the curse wants me to believe. Then ask me. The words come out fierce. Don't wonder, don't guess. Ask me directly. Am I manipulating you? Am I playing a long game? And you'd tell me the truth? Yes. But would you? His eyes search mine. That's the question, isn't it? The manipulative version would lie perfectly. The fragile version might lie to protect herself. Only the perfect version would tell the truth, and she's the one I can't afford to believe in. We're at an impasse, I realize. He can't trust what he sees. I can't prove what I am. The curse has built a wall between us that no amount of midnight conversations can break through, unless... What broke the curse for the other alphas? I ask suddenly. You said 6 generations have had it. Some of them must have found a way through. Damien's expression goes dark. They didn't. Every single one either went mad like my father, or chose wrong and destroyed their mates, or died alone because they couldn't risk choosing at all. The curse has never been broken. Then maybe we need to stop trying to break it. He frowns. What do you mean? I set down my whiskey, turning to face him fully. What if the curse isn't meant to be broken? What if it's meant to be accepted? You see 3 versions of me. What if that's not a distortion? What if it's the truth? What if all 3 versions are real? That's impossible. Is it? I am broken and barren and weak in all the ways wolves value. That's not a lie, and I am smart enough to manipulate if I wanted to. I gave you a riddle that backed you into a corner, didn't I? I could absolutely be dangerous if I chose to be. I take a breath. But I'm also the girl who believes in fairy tales despite everything. Who wants this bond to be real? Who's falling in love with a beast who brings me his mother's books and drinks her whiskey and shows me his bleeding heart even though it terrifies him? Damien stares at me like I've just rewritten the world. What if the curse isn't about seeing clearly? I continue. What if it's about accepting complexity? Your father failed because he couldn't hold all three versions of your mother in his mind at once. He needed her to be one thing, good or evil, safe or dangerous. But people aren't one thing. We're contradictions. We're every version of ourselves all at once. So you're saying I should accept that you might be manipulating me? I'm saying you should accept that I'm capable of manipulation, just like I'm capable of weakness and strength and love and fear. And then you choose to trust me anyway, not because you're certain I'm safe, but because the alternative, living in suspicion and fear, is just another kind of madness. The silence stretches. The fire pops. Somewhere in the castle, a clock chimes midnight. You're asking me to take a leap of faith, Damien says finally. I'm asking you to do what the beast in the story did. To love me enough to risk being wrong. To trust that even if I'm capable of destroying you, I won't. Because I'm choosing not to. And if you're the manipulative version, if this entire conversation is part of a plan, I smile, sad and honest, then you'll have been destroyed by someone who loved you enough to make you believe in fairy tales first. There are worse ways to fall. He laughs, actually laughs, short and surprised and almost painful. You're either the wisest person I've ever met, or the most dangerous. Maybe both. Maybe neither. Maybe it doesn't matter because you're going to choose me anyway. Is that confidence or manipulation? Does it matter? We're so close now, close enough that I can see the gold flickering in his eyes. The curse fighting with something else. Want, hope, the terrifying possibility that maybe this broken bond could be the thing that saves us both. Read to me, he says quietly. No more talking about curses. Just read. I pick up the book of wolf legends, finding the story I marked earlier. It's about a wolf who loses his voice in a battle and can never howl again. He thinks he's useless, broken, until he meets a deaf wolf who teaches him that communication isn't about sound, it's about presence, about showing up, about being there even in silence. When I finish, Damien's head is resting against my shoulder. I'm tired, he murmurs. Tired of seeing three versions. Tired of trying to solve the curse. Tired of being strong every second of every day. Then don't be. Not here, not with me. If I'm not strong, I'm vulnerable. If I'm vulnerable, you could destroy me. Yes, I agree softly. I could. But I won't. Promise. I promise. It's the answer to the riddle, I realize. The thing that breaks when you name it but grows stronger when you keep it. Not love that was too simple. A promise. The promise to choose each other even when certainty is impossible. The promise to trust even when the curse says not to. The promise to keep showing up for these midnight meetings, even though every logical part of him screams that it's dangerous. Damien lifts his head, and when he looks at me, something has shifted in his expression. I want to try something. It might make the curse worse, might make me see 4 versions or 5, but I need to know. Know what? If you feel real when I touch you. If the bond recognizes truth, even when my eyes can't, my breath catches. Okay. He shifts, turning to face me fully. His hand comes up to cup my face, thumb brushing across my cheekbone the way it did that first night. Then his other hand mirrors the gesture, holding my face between his palms like I'm something precious. Tell me about you, he says. Not the story version, the real one. Tell me something true that you've never told anyone. I close my eyes, leaning into his touch. I'm glad Celeste got sick that day. I'm glad I was the one who walked down the aisle. Because even though this is a disaster, even though we're both trapped and broken and cursed, I'd rather be trapped with you than free without you. And that makes me feel like a terrible person, because Celeste loved you first, wanted you first. But I can't make myself sorry for it. His hands tighten slightly against my face. My turn. I knew you weren't Celeste before I lifted the veil. Your scent was wrong. Your heartbeat was different. Everything about you screamed that you were someone else. And I lifted it anyway because I was curious. Because something in me recognized something in you, and I had to know what it was. I marked you knowing exactly what you were knowing about the barrenness, knowing about the shifting, and I did it anyway because in that moment, you were the only real thing in a room full of theater. I opened my eyes. His face is inches from mine, so close I can see the gold and brown warring in his irises, can feel his breath against my lips. Which version am I right now? I whisper. All three, none of them, it doesn't matter anymore. Then he kisses me. It's nothing like the mark that was violence, claiming, possession. This is soft, questioning, a hand extended in the dark hoping for another hand to take it. His lips move against mine with a gentleness that makes my chest ache, and the bond between us flares so bright I can feel it in my bones. When he pulls back, we're both shaking. That felt real, he says, almost to himself. Every version, all at once. But it felt real. Because it is real. We're real. He rests his forehead against mine. And we breathe the same air. Exist in the same moment. Two broken things choosing each other despite every logical reason not to. I'm still afraid, he admits. Afraid I'm choosing wrong. Afraid this will destroy us both. Then be afraid with me. But don't run. Not yet. Not when we've only just started figuring out how to be real together. How much time do we have left? Of your month? 14 days. Not enough, he murmurs. Not nearly enough to unlearn a lifetime of fear. Then we'll ask for more time. We'll take a year, a decade, however long it takes. And the heir? The pack needs a Luna who's actually present, not a decoration hiding in a gilded cage. They need an alpha who hasn't closed himself off from every soft thing. Maybe that matters more than bloodlines. I pull back enough to meet his eyes. Maybe we matter more than what everyone thinks we should be. He studies my face for a long moment, and I wonder which version he's seeing now. The broken one, the dangerous one, the perfect one? Then he smiles, really smiles, and it transforms his entire face. You're going to ruin me, little mate. Completely and utterly ruin me. Is that a bad thing? I don't know yet. Ask me again in 14 days. He stands, pulling me up with him. But instead of leaving like he usually does, he leads me to the bed, the enormous bed I've been sleeping in alone since the wedding. Stay. I say before I can stop myself. Just stay. Sleep here. Let me prove that proximity doesn't equal destruction. He should say no. Every rule of the curse says he should maintain distance, should protect himself, should treat me like a potential threat. But he's already removing his boots. Just sleep, he confirms. Just sleep. We lie down on opposite sides of the bed, a careful distance between us. The fire burns low. The room settles into darkness. And slowly, carefully, his hand finds mine in the space between. Tell me a story, he murmurs. One more before we sleep. So I do. I tell him about a beast and a girl, about how they both learned that being broken wasn't the end of the story, it was just the middle. About how the hardest curse to break isn't the one placed by magic, but the one we place on ourselves, the belief that we're unworthy of being loved as we actually are. Before I finish, his breathing evens out. He's asleep, hands still tangled with mine, the bond between us humming with something that feels almost like peace. And for the first time since the mark burned into my neck, I think, maybe this disaster could be beautiful after all. Chapter 5, The Shifting Truth. I wake to sunlight and an empty bed. For a moment, panic seizes me. Was last night a dream? Did I imagine the whiskey and the curse and the kiss that felt like choosing? But then I see it. A note on the pillow where Damien's head rested, his handwriting sharp and precise. Pack business. Back by nightfall. The library is yours, all of it, not just this room. Margaret knows where everything is. Don't burn the castle down while I'm gone. D. Despite everything, I smile. Then I notice the postscript, smaller, like he almost didn't write it. P.S. You talk in your sleep. You said my name 17 times. I counted. Heat floods my face. I fold the note carefully, tucking it into the book of fairy tales like a pressed flower. Evidence that last night was real. Margaret appears an hour later with breakfast and a knowing look. He left whistling, she says, setting down the tray. I've worked in this castle for 33 years. I've never once heard that man whistle. It was just one night. It's never just one night, not with true mates. She pours tea with practiced efficiency. He told me to show you the full library. All 12 rooms of it. I nearly dropped my cup. 12 rooms? Did you think all those books fit in here? Her smile is wicked. Come. You'll want to see this. The library is a labyrinth. Margaret leads me through a hidden door behind the bookshelf. Of course there's a hidden door. And suddenly we're in a corridor lined floor to ceiling with books. It branches into rooms dedicated to different subjects: wolf history, human philosophy, ancient languages, poetry, warfare, healing, cooking, art. He built it like a mind, Margaret explains as we walk. Each room a different thought, different interest. He'd spend days in here when his father was alive, hiding from the cruelty. This was his sanctuary. We stop in a room labeled simply, Mothers. Inside, the books are all about motherhood, pregnancy guides, lullabies, stories, mothers tell children. In the center sits a rocking chair, worn smooth from use. His mother's chair. Margaret says softly. The only thing his father didn't burn. Damien found it in the servants' quarters 20 years later. We'd hidden it, hoping. She trails off. He sits in it sometimes. When he thinks no one's watching, just sits and rocks and tries to remember a voice he never really heard. My throat tightens. I think about the boy who grew up without softness, who built an entire library as a monument to a mother he never knew, who kisses like he's afraid gentleness will shatter him. Why are you showing me this? I ask. Because he won't. Because he'll let you see the curse and the danger and the impossibility, but he won't show you the part that's just lonely. Just human. Margaret meets my eyes. You asked him to try for a month. This is what you're really asking for. All 12 rooms of him, not just the pretty ones. I spend the day exploring. In the history room, I find books about the Blackthorn curse. 6 generations of alphas, all driven mad or broken by seeing their mates in 3 forms. Some killed their mates, some killed themselves. None found happiness. In the poetry room, I find a journal in Damien's handwriting, recent entries. Not old ones. I shouldn't read it. I know I shouldn't. But my eyes catch on my name and I'm lost. Day 3 since the marking. She hasn't tried to run, doesn't beg or plead, just sits in my study reading books like none of this is happening. I see her 3 ways: victim, spy, saint. Can't tell which is real. Can't afford to guess wrong. Day 7. She asked for stories. No one has ever asked me for anything so simple. So dangerous. I told her no initially. Told her we'd have an arrangement. But she gave me a riddle and I couldn't help myself. I had to answer. Had to show her I understand what she's really asking. Does that make me the fool, or her the genius? Day 12. She fell asleep in the chair tonight while reading. I watched her for an hour, trying to see clearly. In sleep, she's just one person. No masks, no performance. Just a girl who talks about moonlight like it's real. I wanted to touch her face. Didn't. Couldn't risk it. Day 14. I showed her the curse. Kissed her. Slept beside her like we're actually married. I'm doing everything my father warned against: getting close, letting her see weakness, choosing hope over safety. Tomorrow she'll probably use it against me. Tonight, I don't care. I closed the journal with shaking hands. He's been writing about me every day, trying to solve the puzzle of which version is real, even while I've been doing the same with him. We're both trapped in the same curse, I realize. Both trying to see clearly. Both terrified of choosing wrong. Damien returns at sunset. And I'm waiting in the main library with the journal. You read it, he says when he sees me holding it. Not a question. Yes. And I think we need to stop trying to solve each other like puzzles. We're not riddles to be answered, we're just people trying to figure out how to be real together. He crosses to me, taking the journal and setting it aside. I counted today. 73 pack members asked me about you. About when you'd be presented as Luna. About whether the rumors are true that you can't shift, that you're barren. About whether I'm keeping you locked away because I'm ashamed. What did you tell them? That you're recovering from the marking. that you'll be presented when you're ready. He pauses. But we can't hide forever, Pamela. Eventually, the pack needs to meet you. Needs to see that their Luna is real. Not a ghost I've hidden in a tower. Fear curls in my stomach. They'll see what I am, what I can't do. Yes, they'll question your choice. Question whether you're fit to lead if you can't even choose a proper mate. Probably. Then why present me at all? Why not just... I stop myself before suggesting the arrangement again. We're past that now, aren't we? Because I'm tired of hiding. He takes my hand, pulling me to my feet. Tired of pretending you're not the most interesting thing that's happened to me in 30 years. Tired of letting the curse decide how I live my life. His eyes search mine. I want to present you as my Luna, my actual mate, not as an arrangement or a political solution, but as the woman I'm choosing, despite everything logical, saying I shouldn't. You're choosing me? The words come out small, disbelieving. I'm trying to. Still seeing 3 versions, still terrified I'm picking wrong. But yes, I'm choosing to try. To believe that maybe all 3 versions are real, and I can love all of them. He pulls me closer. But I need you to choose too. Not just me, but this pack life. Public appearances. Being Luna to wolves who'll judge every move you make. Can you do that? I think about it honestly. Think about standing in front of hundreds of wolves who can do everything I can't. Think about their eyes, their judgment, their whispers. Then I think about Damien whistling this morning. About his journal entries. About 12 rooms of books built as monuments to softness in a world that tried to crush it. Yes, I say. I can do that. Even though you're terrified? Especially because I'm terrified. Someone once told me that being afraid with someone is braver than being safe alone. He smiles. Sounds like a wise person. She's learning. He kisses me then, deeper than last night, and the bond flares between us like recognition, like 2 halves of something finally admitting they fit together, jagged edges and all. When we break apart, he's breathing hard. The pack gathering is in 3 days. Full moon. Every pack member will be there. Shifted and running. You'll be the only one in human form. I know. They'll see it as weakness. Let them. His expression shifts, something fierce and possessive flickering across his face. You're really going to do this? Stand beside me as exactly what you are. No apologies. Is that the brave version? Or the manipulative one? I don't know anymore. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe. I agree. The next 3 days pass in a blur of preparation. Margaret brings a seamstress who creates a Luna dress that fits me, instead of Celeste deep midnight blue with silver embroidery, moons instead of wolves. If you can't shift, Margaret says firmly, then we'll make the moon your symbol. The thing wolves howl for. The thing they need but can never touch. Damien teaches me pack protocols, how to stand, how to address different ranks, how to project authority even without the ability to shift. You're Luna, he says. That means you outrank everyone except me. Don't apologize for it. Don't shrink. They need to see strength, even if it's different from what they expect. At night, we continue our ritual. Stories and whiskey and conversations that stretch until dawn. He tells me about challengers he's faced, about the weight of leadership, about nights he's wanted to run and never come back. I tell him about my childhood, about watching Celeste shift for the first time and knowing I never would. About the healer who told me about my barren womb and how my father's face had closed like a door. He offered to send me to the human settlements, I admit, on the 2nd night. Said if I ruined the wedding, if I cost him the alliance, he'd dissolve my place in the family. Damien's hand tightens on mine. He threatened to exile you. It wasn't really a threat, more like a statement of fact. I'm not useful as a wolf. At least as a human, I'd fit in. You're not going anywhere. His voice is hard. You're mine now. My mate. My Luna. My responsibility. Your father has no claim on you anymore. The possessiveness should bother me. Should feel like another cage. But instead, it feels like safety, like someone finally standing between me and the world that's always seen me as disposable. On the 3rd night, the night before the gathering, Damien doesn't come at midnight. He arrives at dinner instead, dressed formally, and extends his hand. Come with me. There's one more room I need to show you. He leads me deep into the library, past all 12 rooms, to a door I haven't seen before. It's locked with silver, the kind of lock that burns wolves who touch it without permission. This room, Damien says quietly, is my father's legacy. I've never shown anyone, never let anyone in. But if you're going to be my Luna, truly and completely, you need to see all of it, even the ugly parts. He unlocks the door. Inside is a nightmare. The walls are covered in sketches, hundreds of them, maybe thousands, all of the same woman in 3 different forms. Damien's mother, seen through the curse, beautiful and kind in one sketch, cruel and cold in another, wild and dangerous in a third. Over and over, variations on the same theme, like his father was trying to draw his way to truth. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is the writing. Scrawled across the walls in what looks like blood, probably just ink, but the effect is the same. Our accusations, theories, paranoid rants about which version was real, which was the curse, which would destroy him. She's poisoning me slowly, I see it in version 2's eyes. No, version 1 is the poison, making me soft, vulnerable. Version 3 is the moon goddess herself, testing me. If I choose wrong, I doom us all. On and on, spiraling into madness. He lived in this room the last year of his life, Damien says, his voice hollow. Locked himself in, wouldn't eat, wouldn't sleep, just drew and wrote, and tried to solve a curse that can't be solved. By the time I killed him, he was barely a wolf anymore, just a ghost haunted by 3 women who were all the same woman. I can't look away from the walls, from the evidence of a mind destroying itself, trying to find certainty where none existed. This is what I'm afraid of, Damien continues. This is my bloodline, my inheritance. Every night I spend with you, every time I let myself believe you're real, I'm walking closer to this room, to this madness. I turn to face him, and I see the fear in his eyes, raw and real and devastating. Then don't walk alone, I say. That's what killed him, isn't it? Not the curse, but the isolation. He locked himself away, tried to solve it by himself, couldn't ask for help because alphas don't admit weakness. I take his hand. But you're not alone. You have me. And maybe I can't cure the curse, can't make you see clearly, but I can be here while you're afraid. I can remind you that you're not him, that you don't have to end up in a room like this. What if it's not enough? What if I still go mad? Then go mad with me holding your hand. Go mad with someone who knows all 3 versions and chooses to stay anyway. Go mad with midnight stories and whiskey and the woman who talks in her sleep saying your name. I squeeze his fingers. But don't go mad alone in a locked room convinced that certainty is possible. That's the real curse, not seeing 3 versions, but thinking you have to choose only one. He pulls me against him, holding me so tight I can barely breathe. You're not like anyone I've ever met. Is that the compliment version or the dangerous version talking? Both. Always both. We stand in that horrible room, surrounded by the evidence of his father's madness, and I make him a promise. Tomorrow, at the gathering, I'll stand beside you as your Luna. Not perfectly, not the way Celeste would have, but as myself, broken and barren and human-souled. And when the pack sees me, sees what you've chosen, they'll have to decide, is their alpha strong enough to choose love over logic, or will they see weakness? And if they see weakness, then we'll prove them wrong together. He kisses me there, in the nightmare room, and somehow it feels like an exorcism, like we're choosing to write a different story over the one his father left behind. When we leave, Damien locks the door behind us. I'm never going in there again, he says. Good. But I'm keeping the key. As a reminder. Of what? That isolation is the real curse. And that you pulled me out of it before I even knew I was drowning. That night, our last night before the gathering, we don't read stories. We just lie in bed. Tangled together, the bond humming between us like a song only we can hear. I'm still seeing 3 versions, he admits in the darkness. I know. And I'm still afraid. I know that too. But tomorrow I'm going to stand in front of my entire pack and tell them you're mine. That I chose you. That they'll respect you or answer to me. That sounds very alpha of you. It is. He traces patterns on my shoulder. But it's also just me choosing you. In whatever messy, imperfect way I'm capable of. That's all I've ever wanted. A messy, cursed alpha who might go mad. A man who builds libraries for his dead mother and writes journal entries about me and whistles when he thinks no one's listening. The curse is just part of the package. He laughs softly. You're either going to save me or destroy me, Pamela Blackthorne. Blackthorne, I repeat, testing the name. Is that what I am now? If you want to be. I think about it. Think about the girl who was Pamela Lachlan, disposable daughter, broken wolf, mistake. And the woman who could be Pamela Blackthorne, Luna of the strongest pack in the north, mate to a cursed alpha, keeper of midnight stories. Yes, I say, I want to be. Then you are. We fall asleep like that, newly named, newly chosen, newly terrified of everything that comes next. But at least we're terrified together. And somehow, that makes all the difference. Chapter 6, The Gathering. The full moon rises over Blackthorn territory like a silver eye, watching, judging. I stand before the mirror in our chamber now, not just mine while Margaret fastens the Luna dress. The midnight blue fabric flows like water, the silver embroidery catching the lamplight. I look like someone important. Someone who belongs. I look like a lie. Stop that, Margaret says, reading my face. You're Luna. Act like it. I can't shift, Margaret. The moment they run, I'll be standing there in human form like the moon they're all howling at. She turns me to face her, hands firm on my shoulders. Listen to me. You're not less than them because you can't shift. You're different. And different is exactly what this pack needs after 30 years of an alpha who couldn't feel anything soft. What if they reject me? What if they see me as weakness and challenge Damien? Then he'll handle it. That's what alphas do. She softens slightly. But I don't think they will. I've been watching the pack these last 3 days. They're curious about you, yes. Uncertain, but not hostile. They want to believe their alpha has finally found something worth protecting beyond territory and power. A knock at the door. Damien enters, and my breath catches. He's dressed in ceremonial alpha attire, all black leather and silver buckles, powerful and dangerous and beautiful, but it's his eyes that stop me. They're clearer than I've seen them in days, focused and certain. You look, he stops, searching for words. You look like the moon made flesh. Is that good? It's perfect. He crosses to me, taking my hands. Are you ready? No, but I'll go anyway. He smiles slightly. That's my Luna. Margaret slips out, leaving us alone. Damien pulls me close, and I breathe in his scent, pine and smoke, and something wild that the bond recognizes as home. I need to tell you something before we go out there, he says quietly. About tonight. My stomach drops. What? There's a possibility, small, but real, that someone will challenge me. Not for alpha. For the right to reject you as Luna, and demand I take another mate. His hands tighten on mine. It's ancient law. If a pack member can prove the Luna is fundamentally unfit, unable to produce heirs, unable to defend the pack, they can call for a rejection. And if they do, then I either agree and dissolve our bond. His jaw clenches, or I fight them. To the death if necessary. Horror floods through me. You'd have to kill someone because I'm broken? You're not broken. But yes, I'd kill anyone who tried to take you from me. He says it simply, matter-of-factly. Like commenting on the weather. I need you to know that going in. Need you to understand that presenting you tonight isn't just ceremony. It's a declaration of war against anyone who thinks they can dictate who I choose. Maybe we should wait. Find another way. No. His voice is firm. No more hiding. No more pretending you're something you're not. Tonight, the pack meets the real you, and they accept it, or they face me. The alpha in him is showing now. The part that killed his father. The part that's held power for a decade through sheer will and violence. It should terrify me. Instead, I feel safe. Okay, I whisper. Let's go. The gathering ground is a massive clearing in the heart of Blackthorn Forest. 300 wolves wait in human form, naked or barely clothed, preparing for the shift. They fall silent as Damien and I emerge from the tree line. I feel their eyes like physical weight, judging, measuring, finding me wanting. Damien's hand is firm at the small of my back as he leads me to the center of the clearing. There's a raised stone platform there, ancient, worn smooth by generations of paws and feet. He guides me onto it, then turns to face his pack. Blackthorn pack. His voice carries effortlessly, pure alpha command. I present Pamela Blackthorn, my true mate, your Luna. Silence. Heavy, oppressive silence. Then a voice from the crowd. She can't shift. No. Damien agrees calmly. She can't. She's barren. Another voice calls. A woman this time, older. The healers from Lachlan confirmed it. True. The murmurs grow louder. I force myself to stand tall, to meet their eyes even though every instinct screams to hide. Then why? A young male steps forward, bold and stupid. Why would you mark her? Why doom our pack to a Luna who can't hunt, can't fight, can't give us heirs? Careful, Thomas. Damien's voice drops to a growl. You're questioning your alpha. I'm questioning your judgment. The young wolf Thomas presses forward. We deserve a Luna who can lead us, not a human who'll hide in the castle while we fight. Our enemies will see this as weakness. They'll come for us, and she'll be the reason. Several wolves nod in agreement. My heart hammers. This is it, the challenge Damien warned about. But before Damien can respond, another voice cuts through the crowd. And what exactly do you think a Luna is, Thomas? I recognize the speaker, Margaret, still in her formal pack attire, standing at the edge of the gathering. She steps forward, and the crowd parts for her instinctively. Former Lunas carry weight even decades after losing the title. A Luna isn't just a womb, Margaret continues, her voice sharp. She's the heart of the pack, the balance to the alpha's strength. And sometimes the pack needs a different kind of strength than claws and teeth. We need heirs, Thomas insists. You need to remember your history, Margaret snaps. Damien's father had a Luna who could shift beautifully, who bore him a strong son, and he nearly destroyed this pack because he couldn't see past his own madness, couldn't accept anything soft or different or unexpected. We almost died because we valued bloodlines over humanity. The crowd shifts uncomfortably. They remember. Of course they remember. Pamela Blackthorn can't give you heirs, Margaret says, turning to address the full gathering now. Can't shift, can't hunt, but I've watched her these past weeks. She looks at our alpha like he's a man, not just a weapon. She pulled him out of the isolation he's been drowning in since he took power. She made him whistle for moon's sake. When's the last time any of you heard him whistle? A few wolves actually smile at that. So yes, Margaret continues, she's different, unexpected, not what any of us would have chosen. But maybe that's exactly what we need, a Luna who's here because she was chosen, not because she's useful. Because sometimes the most revolutionary thing a pack can do is value love over utility. Silence falls again, but it feels different now. Thoughtful instead of hostile. Then Damien speaks, his voice quiet but absolute. I killed my father because he taught me that strength meant crushing anything soft. That love was weakness. That different meant dangerous. His hand finds mine on the platform. Pamela's teaching me something different. That strength can be choosing the unexpected. That love can be brave instead of weak. That different can be exactly what saves us. He turns to Thomas directly. You want to challenge my choice? Fine. Step forward. We'll settle it the old way, you and me. Shifted. To the death. Winner decides if Pamela stays. Thomas pales. He's young, strong, but he's not stupid enough to fight Damien. No one is. I thought not. Damien's voice carries contempt now. Anyone else want to question my judgment? No one speaks. Then kneel. It's a command, pure and simple. Kneel for your Luna. For a heartbeat. Nothing happens. Then Margaret kneels. Old bones on hard ground. But she does it without hesitation. One by one, the pack follows. Some quickly, some reluctantly, but they all do it. 300 wolves on their knees in the moonlight, acknowledging me as Luna even though I'm everything they shouldn't want. Everything except Thomas. He stands rigid, jaw clenched, fury radiating off him in waves. Kneel, Damien repeats, or leave my territory. You have 5 seconds to choose. Thomas's hands ball into fists. For a terrible moment I think he might actually challenge. Might force Damien to kill him right here, right now, and it will be my fault. But then his knees bend. Slowly, painfully, like every inch costs him. When he's fully kneeling, Damien speaks again. The Luna has accepted your acknowledgement. Rise. The pack stands. And then, following some signal I don't catch, they begin to shift. It's beautiful and terrible at once. Bodies flowing like water into wolf form, bones restructuring, fur rippling across skin. The air fills with the sounds of transformation, growls and whines, and the peculiar silence of human voices becoming animal. Within moments, 300 wolves surround the platform. All colors gray and black and brown and red. All sizes. All deadly. And I'm standing in the center, the only human, wearing a dress made of moonlight while they prepare to run. Damien shifts last. His wolf is massive, pure black with eyes that burn gold even in animal form. He's twice the size of the nearest wolf, all power and controlled violence. He circles me once, and I understand. This is the test. He's showing the pack that I'm not afraid of them. Not afraid of what they are, even though I can't become it. I reach out slowly, carefully, and rest my hand on his head. His fur is softer than I expected. Warm. Real. The bond pulses between us, stronger in this form somehow, like his wolf recognizes me even more clearly than his human side does. Beautiful. I whisper, and I mean it. He presses into my touch for just a moment. Affection. Reassurance. Promise then pulls away. He throws his head back and howls. A sound so primal and powerful it vibrates in my bones. The pack joins him, 300 voices lifted to the moon, to the night, to whatever gods watch over wolves. And I'm in the center of it, human and small and different, but somehow impossibly exactly where I belong. Then they run. It's like watching a river of shadows and moonlight flow past me. Damien leads, naturally, with Margaret's wolf still strong despite her age at his flank. They circle the clearing once, twice, building speed and unity. On the third pass, Damien breaks away from the pack. He races directly at me. An instinct screams to move, to run, to protect myself. But I force myself to stand still. He stops inches from me, so close I can feel his breath. His golden eyes bore into mine, and I see the question in them. Trust me? I nod. In one fluid motion, he lowers himself to the ground and he wants me to ride. Are you insane? I breathe, but he just waits, patient and impossible. Margaret's wolf barks once laughter. Somehow, even in animal form, I gather my Luna dress and awkwardly climb onto Damien's back. My hands find purchase in his thick fur, and the moment I'm settled, he surges to his feet. Then we're running. The world blurs into silver and green and shadow. Trees whip past. The ground disappears beneath us. The pack surrounds us like an honor guard, their howls mixing with the thunder of paws on earth. I should be terrified, should be clinging on for dear life. Instead, I throw my head back and laugh. Because this wild, impossible, unexpected thing, this is freedom. This is belonging. This is what it means to be Luna, not in spite of being different, but because of it. Damien runs faster, and I feel his joy through the bond. Feel him showing off, showing his pack that his mate can ride with them even if she can't shift. That she's brave enough to trust, strong enough to hold on, fierce enough to belong. We run until the moon reaches its peak. Until the pack is exhausted and satisfied and united in a way I can feel thrumming through the bond, not just Damien's bond with me, but his bond with them. The invisible threads that hold a pack together. When we finally stop back at the gathering ground, the wolves shift back to human form. They're smiling now, laughing, the tension from earlier completely dissolved. Damien shifts last, and suddenly I'm sitting on a naked man instead of a wolf. I scramble off, face burning, while the pack hoots with laughter. Sorry, Damien says, not sounding sorry at all. He's grinning, actually grinning, open and young and completely unguarded. Forgot to warn you about that part. You're terrible, I say, but I'm smiling too. He pulls me close, unconcerned with his nakedness or the audience. Did you feel it? He asks quietly. Just for me. The pack bond? I nod, because I did. Somehow, impossibly, I felt the threads connecting me to all of them. Felt their acceptance, their curiosity, even their lingering doubts, but all of it wrapped in a kind of tentative belonging. You're truly Luna now, he murmurs. They've accepted you. Not all of them. I glance toward where Thomas stands at the edge of the crowd, still radiating resentment. No, Damien agrees. Not all, but enough. That's all any Luna can hope for. The celebration after the run lasts until dawn. There's food and drink and music drums made from hollow logs, voices raised in old pack songs. I sit beside Damien on the raised platform, his arm around my waist, and watch his pack celebrate. Margaret appears with 2 cups of her moonflower whiskey. You did well, she says, handing them to us. Better than well. You rode an alpha wolf through the sacred run on your first gathering. That's either bravery or stupidity, and I haven't decided which. Can't it be both? I ask. She laughs. With you too? Definitely both. As she walks away, Damien pulls me closer. I saw one version tonight, he says quietly, his breath warm against my ear. Just one. Not 3. Just you brave and real and exactly who I need. Which version? Does it matter? No, I admit. I suppose it doesn't. We sit in comfortable silence, watching the pack, and I let myself believe just for this moment that maybe we've won. That maybe the curse is broken, the pack is united, and nothing can touch this fragile, beautiful thing we're building. I should know better. Because across the clearing, Thomas watches us with eyes full of cold calculation, and when he finally leaves the gathering, slipping into the shadows like a ghost, I feel the first whisper of dread curl in my stomach. Something is coming. Something that will test whether this pack's acceptance is real or just a performance under their alpha's watchful eyes. But tonight, wrapped in Damien's arms while his pack celebrates around us, I push the fear away. Tonight, I'm Luna. Tomorrow, I'll worry about keeping the title. Don't forget to subscribe. Chapter 7. The Broken Bargain. I wake 3 days later to shouting. Not the normal sounds of pack life training, sparring, the daily controlled chaos of 300 wolves learning to coexist. This is different. Urgent. Angry. Damien is already out of bed, pulling on clothes with the efficient speed of someone accustomed to middle-of-the-night emergencies. Stay here, he says, but I'm already reaching for my robe. What's happening? I don't know. But it sounds like it's coming from the main hall. He pauses at the door, conflict warring across his face. Pamela, please, stay here until I know what we're dealing with. I'm Luna. If there's trouble, I need to know you're safe so I can handle it without worrying. He crosses back to me, pressing a hard kiss to my forehead. Please. The please does it. I nod reluctantly, and he's gone. I last exactly 5 minutes before following. The main hall is chaos. At least 50 pack members have gathered, forming a loose circle around the center where Damien stands facing 3 people I don't recognize. 2 men and a woman, all wearing the formal attire of visiting dignitaries. Their scent marks them as wolves, but not blackthorn wolves. And behind them, looking smug and vindicated, stands Thomas. Unprecedented breach of protocol. One of the visiting men is saying, his voice sharp with authority. You marked a mate without proper verification, without ensuring she met the basic requirements for Luna. Careful. Damien's voice is deadly quiet. You're in my territory, speaking about my mate. Choose your next words wisely. We're not here to challenge you, Alpha Blackthorn, the woman says smoothly. She's older, silver-haired, with eyes that calculate everything. We're here as representatives of the Northern Council. We received concerning reports about your recent mating. My stomach drops. The Northern Council, the governing body that oversees all packs in the territory, that mediates disputes and enforces ancient laws. They have power even over alphas. What reports? Damien asks, though his eyes have already found Thomas in the crowd. Reports that your mate cannot shift, the second man says. That she's barren. That she was marked by mistake during a ceremony meant for another woman. He pulls out a scroll, unrolling it with theatrical precision. We have a signed testimony from Alpha Lachlan himself, stating that his daughter Pamela was merely a stand-in for his true daughter Celeste, and that the marking was an unfortunate accident. My own father testified against me. The marking was no accident, Damien says flatly. I knew exactly who I was marking. Perhaps, the woman allows. But the law is clear. A Luna must be able to fulfill 3 basic duties. She must be able to shift and run with the pack. She must be able to bear the Alpha's airs. And she must be able to defend the pack in times of war. Her eyes find me in the crowd, and I feel her judgment like ice. Can your mate do any of these things? Silence. Damien's jaw works, but he can't lie. They all know the answer. That's what I thought, the woman continues. Which brings us to why we're here. The council has voted. Your mating is declared invalid. You have 1 week to dissolve the bond and choose a proper Luna. Or what? Damien's power floods the room, making wolves whimper and drop to their knees. You'll what, exactly, try to remove me as Alpha? We'll declare Blackthorn Pack in violation of Northern law. The first man says, struggling to stay on his feet under the weight of Damien's power. Which means any pack can challenge you for territory without consequence. You'll be fighting wars on all sides while trying to maintain order within. Your pack will be torn apart within a year. It's a death sentence. Not for Damien, for everyone. For Margaret and the young wolves, and every member of Blackthorn who had nothing to do with this. There is, however, an alternative, the woman says carefully. One that would satisfy the council and preserve your pack. Here it comes. I know what she's going to say before she says it. Dissolve your bond with Pamela Blackthorn. Take a proper mate. We have several suitable candidates, including Celeste Lachlan, who was originally intended for this union. Pamela can remain in your territory under pack protection, honored as your first mate, if you will. Everyone saves face. The law is satisfied. Your pack survives. It's the arrangement, the exact one Damien proposed on our wedding night, me as decoration, another woman as functional Luna. Except now it's not a choice. It's a demand. I watch Damien's face, and see the calculation happening behind his eyes. See him weighing his pack's survival against. What? Against me? Against 3 weeks of midnight stories and whiskey, and learning to see past the curse? How much am I worth compared to 300 lives? How long do I have to decide? Damien asks, and my heart shatters. Because he's not refusing. He's not telling them to leave his territory. Not defending our bond. He's negotiating. 1 week, the woman says. We'll return in 7 days for your answer. Choose wisely, Alpha Blackthorn. Some things are worth sacrificing for the greater good. They leave with Thomas trailing behind them like a faithful dog. The pack disperses slowly, whispering, uncertain. And Damien still hasn't looked at me. Damien. I say quietly. He flinches at his name. Finally turns to face me, and the devastation in his eyes almost makes me forgive him. Almost. Pamela, which version do you see right now? The question comes out bitter. The manipulative one who trapped you into this bond? The broken one who's cost you everything? Or the perfect one you're about to sacrifice for your pack? Don't do this. Do what? Ask you to choose me over 300 lives? Ask you to destroy your pack for a woman you've known for 3 weeks? I laugh, and it sounds broken even to my own ears. I'm not asking for that, Damien. I'm asking you to at least pretend this is difficult. To look devastated instead of relieved that you finally have a good excuse to do what you wanted from the beginning. That's not fair. Fair? My voice rises. You want to talk about fair? My own father testified against me. Signed papers declaring me defective. Unwanted. A mistake. And you're standing there calculating whether I'm worth fighting for. So no, Damien, this isn't fair. None of this has ever been fair. The pack members still lingering in the hall pretend not to listen, but I know they hear every word. No, this will be spread across the territory by nightfall, the Luna breaking down, proving she's too weak, too emotional, too human for this role. Let them talk. I need time, Damien says finally. Time to think, to find another solution. There is no other solution. We both know it. I pull off the Luna ring he gave me 3 days ago, simple silver, etched with moons. I set it on the table between us. You have a week to decide. I'll make it easier for you. I'm leaving. Leaving? Now he looks panicked. Pamela, you can't just... Can't what? Leave my mate who's considering dissolving our bond? Leave a pack that's been looking for excuses to reject me from day one? Watch you court my sister while I play the gracious cast-off mate? I shake my head. No, I won't do that. I won't sit here for 7 days waiting to find out if I'm worth keeping. Where will you go? Does it matter? I turn toward the door, then pause. For what it's worth, I understand. You're alpha. Your pack comes first. That's how it should be. I just wish. My voice breaks. I wish you'd seen one version long enough to believe in it. To fight for it. Even if you lose. Pamela, wait. But I'm already walking away. Through the hall, through the corridors I've learned over 3 weeks, past the library that holds 12 rooms of beautiful isolation. Margaret catches me at the entrance to our chambers. Where are you going? Away. Somewhere I can't watch him choose his pack over me. He hasn't chosen anything yet. He asked them for time, Margaret. Not for a fight. Not for a war. Just time to figure out the most efficient way to dissolve our bond. I grab a bag, start shoving clothes into it randomly. He'll take Celeste. She's everything I'm not. She can shift. She can bear children. She'll be the Luna they all wanted from the start. And I'll be the tragic story he tells himself on lonely nights. The broken girl he almost loved. You're being unfair. Am I? I round on her. Tell me honestly, if you were him, if you had to choose between one woman and 300 lives, what would you choose? She's quiet. Exactly. I finish packing. Tell him I release him from the bond. That he doesn't have to dissolve it, I'll do it myself. There are ways, if both parties consent. It'll hurt, but I'll survive. I always do. Pamela. Thank you, Margaret, for everything, for trying to make me believe I could be Luna. It was a beautiful dream while it lasted. I leave through the servants' entrance, hood pulled low, moving like the ghost I've always been. Like the placeholder bride, the broken daughter, the mistake everyone's been waiting to correct. The forest swallows me within minutes, and I let it. I walk for hours. No destination in mind, just away. Away from Blackthorn territory, away from Damien's impossible choice, away from the pack that knelt but never truly accepted me. The sun rises, sets, rises again. I eat berries when I'm hungry, drink from streams when I'm thirsty. Sleep in hollow trees and wake with bark imprinted on my skin. On the 3rd day, I reach the human settlement at the edge of the territory. It's exactly as bleak as I imagined. Packless wolves who've been exiled or chosen to leave. Living alongside actual humans who've wandered too close to wolflands and stayed. Everyone here has the same look. Hollow-eyed, defeated, surviving but not living. This is where my father threatened to send me. This is what I am without a pack. I rent a room above a tavern with the few coins I grabbed. It's small and cold and smells like old beer and older regrets. Perfect. The tavern owner, a grizzled human with kind eyes, brings me soup I can't taste. You running from something or toward something? He asks. Neither. Just running. He nods like he understands. Maybe he does. Everyone here is running from something. That night I dream of Damien. Dream of his hands in my hair, his voice reading fairy tales, his wolf beneath me as we race through moonlight. Dream of the way he looked at me in the library and said, I want to figure out how to be the beast who deserves the girl. I wake crying, the bond between us pulled so tight it physically hurts, like a string threatening to snap, leaving us both bleeding. 4 more days. He has 4 more days to choose. I already know what he'll choose. Alphas always choose the pack. That's what makes them good leaders. And the fact that I wish desperately, foolishly that he'd choose differently just proves I never understood what being Luna truly meant. On the 5th day, Margaret finds me. I'm sitting in the tavern, nursing watered-down ale and pretending to read, when she slides into the seat across from me. You're harder to track than I expected, she says. I wasn't trying to be found. I know. Damien's been tearing the territory apart looking for you. He's barely eating, barely sleeping. Just searching and howling and driving the entire pack insane with his grief. I force myself not to care. Has he made his decision? No. He sent word to the council that he needs the full week. To do what? Find a gentler way to break my heart? Margaret sighs. You're not making this easy. Why should I? Nothing about this has been easy. Why should the ending be any different? I set down my cup. Tell him to choose the pack. Tell him I understand. I release him from any obligation, and I'll sign whatever dissolution papers the council requires. Tell him my voice cracks. Tell him thank you. For 3 weeks of pretending I was worth choosing. He wasn't pretending. Yes, he was. We both were. Pretending the curse could be overcome. Pretending a broken Luna could work. Pretending love matters more than duty. I meet her eyes. But we were wrong. And it's time to stop pretending. Margaret reaches across the table, taking my hand. What if I told you there's another way? A way to satisfy the council without dissolving your bond. Hope flares, painful and unwanted. What way? You'll have to come back to find out. No. Tell me now, or I stay here. She studies me for a long moment. Then, Damien found something in his father's journals. A loophole in the Northern law. But he needs you there to invoke it. And he needs you to trust him one more time. I don't have any trust left, Margaret. Then come back anyway. Come back angry. Come back broken. Come back convinced he'll betray you. Her grip tightens. But come back, because in 2 days, the council returns. And if you're not there, if you don't stand beside him when they do, he'll lose everything. Not just you, the pack, his title, his life's work, everything. It's manipulation. Obvious, transparent manipulation. She's using my guilt, my lingering feelings, my inability to walk away when people need me. And it works anyway. Fine, I say. I'll come back. I'll play whatever role he needs me to play for the council. But after that, I'm done. No more midnight stories. No more fairy tales. No more believing in impossible things. Fair enough. We leave the settlement at dawn, and with every step back toward Blackthorn territory, the bond pulls tighter, stronger, like it's trying to drag me home against my will. Or maybe like it never wanted me to leave at all. Chapter 8, The Promise. The castle is in chaos when we arrive. Pack members run in every direction, carrying weapons, reinforcing defenses, preparing for what? War? The council's arrival is still a day away. What could possibly require this level of mobilization? Margaret grabs a passing wolf, a young female I recognize from the gathering. What's happening? Lachlan Pack. The girl pants. They're here. Alpha Lachlan and 50 warriors, demanding to speak with Alpha Damien. Something about reclaiming his daughter and dissolving an illegal bond. My father. Of course. Not content to simply testify against me, he's come to personally ensure I'm removed from Damien's life. Where's Damien? I ask. Main courtyard. He's been negotiating for 3 hours, but it's not going well. Alpha Lachlan keeps demanding to see you, and when Damien couldn't produce you, she trails off, looking uncomfortable. What? He accused Damien of killing you. Said he'd use your death as grounds to invoke blood law and challenge for Blackthorn territory. Horror floods through me. That's insane. Damien would never. We know that. But Alpha Lachlan has the council representatives with him. If he can prove you're dead or harmed, he can legally challenge. And with the bond already in question, the council might support him. This is worse than I thought. Much worse. My disappearance hasn't just hurt Damien personally, it's given my father ammunition to destroy everything. Take me to him, I say. Now. The main courtyard is a standoff. Damien stands on the steps of the castle, flanked by his beta and senior pack members. He looks terrible, gaunt, exhausted, barely holding himself together. The bond between us throbs with his pain, and I realize what this week has cost him. He wasn't calculating. He was drowning. Across from him, my father stands with his warriors and the 3 council representatives. Celeste is there too, dressed in formal Luna attire, looking every inch the perfect replacement. Simple proof of life, my father is saying. Produce Pamela, alive and unharmed, or admit you've failed in your most basic duty as a mate. Admit you've lost her through negligence or worse. I told you. Damien's voice is raw. She left of her own accord. She's safe, convenient, and yet you can't produce her. Because I don't own her. She's not property to be produced on demand. My father laughs. She's your mate, your responsibility. If you can't even keep track of one defective girl, how can you be trusted to lead a pack? That's when I step forward. The crowd parts around me, wolves gasping, and my father's face goes pale. Good. Let him see that I'm alive, that Damien didn't hurt me, that his entire play for power just collapsed. But I don't look at my father. I look at Damien. His eyes find mine across the courtyard, and I see everything in them. relief, joy, fear, hope, desperation. All three versions of me reflected back, but underneath it all, love. Messy, imperfect, cursed love that chose to keep looking even when it hurt. Pamela. He breathes. I climb the steps to stand beside him, exactly where Aluna belongs. I'm here. His hand finds mine, gripping tight enough to hurt. The bond surges between us, and I feel his exhaustion, his terror at losing me, his desperate hope that maybe I came back for more than just saving his pack. Where have you been? My father demands. We've been here for hours. I was away, I say calmly. Finally turning to face him, thinking, deciding whether a bond formed by mistake was worth keeping. Something flickers in Damien's grip, fear that I'm about to reject him publicly. And, the female council member asks, what did you decide? I decided, I say slowly, letting every word land, that mistakes are only failures if you refuse to choose them after. That a bond formed by accident can become real through intention. That being chosen despite every logical reason not to be is worth more than being wanted for what you can provide. I turn to Damien fully now, and speak only to him. You asked for time to find another solution. I'm sorry I didn't give it to you. Sorry I ran instead of staying to fight beside you. Sorry I assumed you'd choose duty over me when I've never given you reason to believe you wouldn't choose both. Pamela, let me finish. I squeeze his hand. I see three versions of you too, you know. The monster everyone fears. The alpha who calculates every move. The man who builds libraries for his dead mother and reads fairy tales at midnight. And I've decided I choose all three. The curse, the crown, the softness he tries to hide. All of it. Damien's eyes are bright with unshed tears. You came back. I came back. Why? Because someone once told me a story about a wolf who howled for the moon, even though he could never reach her. And I realized I'd rather spend my life howling for the impossible than settle for anything less. He pulls me against him, and damn the audience, damn protocol, he kisses me like I'm oxygen and he's been drowning. The bond flares so bright I can feel it in my bones, in my blood, in every cell that makes me me. When we break apart, my father is purple with rage. This is ridiculous. She's still barren, still unable to shift, still completely unsuitable. Actually, Damien says, his voice steady now, strengthened by my presence. There's something you should know. Something I discovered in my father's journals this week while you were all deciding my mate's fate. He pulls a scroll from his jacket, old, yellowed with age. This is the original Northern Law, written 6 generations ago. The one that established the 3 requirements for Luna. Ability to shift, ability to bear heirs, ability to defend the pack. He unrolls it, showing the assembled crowd. But there's a 4th clause, one that's been forgotten over time. It states, should a Luna be unable to fulfill the traditional 3 requirements, she may instead prove her worth through the test of the Ancestors' Trial, a challenge set by the pack itself, designed to test her true strength of character and leadership. Silence. Even the council members look surprised. The Ancestors' Trial hasn't been invoked in over a century, the male council member says slowly. It was considered too dangerous, too unpredictable. But it's still law, Damien interrupts. Valid, binding law. And I'm invoking it now. On behalf of my mate. He turns to me. If you're willing. I stare at him. What does the trial involve? I don't know. It's different every time, designed by the pack itself, based on what they need most from their Luna. His eyes search mine. It could be anything, could be impossible, could literally kill you. But if you succeed, no one, not the council, not your father, not anyone can question your right to be Luna. And if I fail, then our bond dissolves automatically. You're exiled from Packlands forever. And I choose another mate. It's a gamble. A terrible, dangerous gamble. But I look at my father's smug expression, at Celeste's perfectly styled hair, at the council members waiting to declare our bond invalid, and I realize this is the only way forward. Not around the law, but through it. I accept the trial. I say clearly. The council members exchange looks. Very well, the female says. As per ancient law, the pack must now design the trial. It should test the candidate's ability to lead, protect, and serve Blackthorn Pack. It should be completed within 24 hours. And it should be something only a true Luna could accomplish. She turns to address the assembled pack members. You have 1 hour to decide. Choose wisely, the fate of your pack depends on it. The pack retreats to deliberate. Damien and I are left in the courtyard with the council and my father, the silence oppressive. You're going to fail, my father says quietly, cruel satisfaction in his voice. Whatever they choose, you'll fail. And then this embarrassment will finally be over. Celeste will become Luna, I'll have my alliance, and you'll be exactly what you've always been, nothing. Careful, Damien growls. She's still my mate. Still your daughter. Show some respect. Respect? For the broken thing that's cost me months of negotiations and political capital? My father steps closer, and I smell the whiskey on his breath. You were supposed to be a simple trade. Stand in for your sister, nod when required, disappear when she recovered. But you had to ruin even that, didn't you? Had to trap an alpha into marking you by mistake. It wasn't a mistake. Damien's voice is deadly quiet. I saw her face. I knew she wasn't Celeste, and I marked her anyway because something in me recognized something in her. That's not a mistake, that's fate. Fate, my father spits. Fate is a story we tell ourselves to justify poor decisions. You marked her because you were curious, because you saw something shiny and different and couldn't resist. But now you're stuck with a mate who can't give you heirs, can't shift, can't do anything a real Luna should do. How long before that curiosity turns to resentment? How long before you wake up and realize you've destroyed your bloodline for a girl who's not even a real wolf? Each word is designed to cut, and they do. But before I can respond, Damien steps between us. Let me be very clear, he says, power flooding his voice. Pamela is more wolf than you'll ever be, more loyal, more brave, more worthy of respect. She doesn't need to shift to be strong. She rode my wolf through the sacred run without fear. She doesn't need to bear heirs to lead. She's teaching my pack that strength comes in unexpected forms. And she doesn't need your approval to be Luna because she already has mine. He turns to me, and his eyes are clear. Not gold-cursed, not seeing 3 versions, just clear. I see you, Pamela. One version, real and whole and exactly who I choose. Not because you're perfect, but because you're you. Because you gave me riddles about love and fairy tales about beasts, and showed me that being cursed doesn't mean being broken. Tears blur my vision. The curse is just fear wearing a prettier name. I let it control me. Let it make me see enemies where there was only you. His hand cups my face. But you were right. All 3 versions were real because people are complex. And I don't need to see you clearly to know I want to choose you every single day, in every single form, for the rest of my life. Even if I fail the trial, especially if you fail. Because then we'll leave together. Find somewhere that doesn't care about bloodlines or traditions or ancient laws. Start our own story. He rests his forehead against mine. I'd rather be a lone wolf with you than an alpha without you. You'd give up your pack. I'd give up everything. It's not true. Not completely. I can feel through the bond how much his pack means to him. How much he'd grieve losing them. But the fact that he'd even offer, that he'd choose me over duty if forced, that's everything. Then let's hope I don't fail, I whisper. The pack returns after an hour. Margaret leads them, her face grave. We've decided on the trial, she announces. Pamela Blackthorn must retrieve something that was lost to our pack long ago, something that can only be recovered by someone the forest itself accepts. What was lost? Damien asks. The Moonstone. An artifact given to the first Blackthorn Alpha by the Moon Goddess herself. It was supposed to pass from Alpha to Alpha, but Damien's father lost it 30 years ago when he went mad with grief. He went into the Forbidden Grove, the oldest part of our forest, where the trees are sentient and hostile to wolves, and never came back with it. We assumed he destroyed it, or it was lost forever. The Forbidden Grove kills wolves, Damien says flatly. The trees there hate our kind, have since the ancient wars. That's why it's forbidden. Anyone who enters doesn't come back. Exactly, Margaret says softly. But Pamela isn't a wolf. Not truly. She's human-souled, which means the forest might accept her where it rejected us. If she can enter the grove, Find the moonstone, and return with it. She'll prove she's not just Luna despite being unable to shift. She'll prove she's Luna because of it, that her difference is her strength. It's brilliant and terrifying. A trial designed specifically for what I am, not what I lack. How long do I have? I ask. Sunset tomorrow. 24 hours. Margaret's eyes are sympathetic. I won't lie, the odds aren't good. The grove is dangerous even for humans. But if anyone can do it, it's you. I turn to Damien. I need to go alone, don't I? Yes. The trial is yours alone. His jaw clenches. I hate this. Hate sending you into danger I can't protect you from. That's the point though, isn't it? Proving I don't need protecting. Proving I'm strong enough to stand beside you, not behind you. You've already proven that. To you. Now I need to prove it to them. I glance at the assembled pack, at the council members, at my father's skeptical expression. To everyone who thinks broken means useless. You're not broken, Damien says fiercely. You're different. I know. I kiss him softly. I'll come back. With the moonstone and proof that different is exactly what this pack needs. Promise. I smile, remembering the riddle. I promise. The Forbidden Grove lies at the heart of Blackthorn territory, surrounded by warning markers and old bones wolves who ventured too close and paid the price. I stand at the edge at dawn, pack supplies on my back, and study the trees. They're ancient, gnarled, their branches twisted into shapes that look almost like faces, watching, judging. I'm human, I say aloud, feeling foolish but compelled. Human-souled. I'm not here to take, only to retrieve what was lost. Will you let me pass? For a moment, nothing. Then slowly the branches part, creating a path where none existed before. I take a breath and step forward. The grove is alive in ways normal forests aren't. The trees whisper in languages I almost understand. The ground shifts beneath my feet, testing my balance. Vines reach out, not to trap but to guide, pulling me deeper into the heart of the wood. I walk for hours, maybe days. Time moves strangely here. The sun doesn't seem to move, trapped in perpetual dawn. Finally, I reach a clearing. In the center stands a tree larger than any I've seen. Massive, ancient, its trunk wide as a house. And embedded in its roots, glowing softly, is a stone the color of moonlight. The moonstone. But as I approach, the tree's branches descend, blocking my path. A voice speaks not words, but meaning that translates directly into understanding. Why should I give this to you, human child? Your kind cut us down, burn us, use us without thought. Why should I help you? Because I'm asking, I say simply. Because I'm not here to take by force, but to receive as a gift. Because the alpha who lost this was drowning in grief and madness. And I think you kept it safe, waiting for someone who could carry it without being destroyed by it. And you can? I don't know, but I'm willing to try. The branches pause, considering. Then, 3 questions, human child. Answer truly, and the stone is yours. Lie, and you join the bones at my roots. My heart hammers. Ask. First, what are you? Broken, barren, human-souled. Everything wolves don't value. Everything my family rejected. Everything that makes me wrong. I take a breath. And also brave. Also loyal. Also capable of loving an alpha cursed. To see me in 3 forms. And choosing all of them anyway. I'm everything at once. The question is, which parts matter more? Second, why do you want the stone? To prove I'm worthy of being Luna. To show my pack that different doesn't mean weak. To keep my mate and my place and my purpose. I pause. But more than that, to prove to myself that being broken doesn't make me worthless. That there's strength in what I am, not just in what I lack. Final question. What is a promise? The riddle. The answer I gave Damien 4 weeks ago that changed everything. A promise, I say slowly, is the thing that breaks when you name it, but grows stronger when you keep it. It can't be bought, forced, or stolen. It's weightless but can carry the world. It's fragile but unbreakable. A promise is the act of choosing someone every single day, in every single moment, even when, especially when it would be easier to walk away. Silence. The tree seems to breathe, considering. Then the branches lift, and the moonstone rises from the roots, floating toward me. It settles in my palms, warm and alive, pulsing with power. You are not broken, human child. You are becoming. Take the stone. Prove them all wrong. Show them that the most powerful thing in existence isn't claws or fangs or the ability to shift. It's the courage to be exactly what you are without apology. The path opens again, leading back. I clutch the stone to my chest and run. I emerge from the grove at sunset, exactly 24 hours after I entered. The entire pack is waiting. Damien stands at the front, and when he sees me alive, whole, carrying the moonstone, his knees nearly buckle with relief. I cross to him, holding out the stone. I believe this belongs to your pack. He takes it with shaking hands, and the moment he touches it, the stone flares bright. Light floods the clearing, and I feel something shift, not in me but in the bond between us. Like the stone is recognizing us, blessing us, sealing what we've chosen. The trial is complete, Margaret announces, her voice thick with emotion. Pamela Blackthorne has retrieved the moonstone, lost for 30 years. She's proven that her difference is her strength, that she can accomplish what no wolf could. By ancient law, she's proven her worth as Luna. The council members exchange glances, then nod. The law is satisfied, the female says. The bond stands. Pamela Blackthorne is officially recognized as Luna of Blackthorne Pack. My father makes a sound of disgust and storms off, taking Celeste with him. I don't even watch them go, because Damien is pulling me into his arms, the moonstone pressed between us, and he's laughing and crying and kissing me all at once. You came back, he keeps saying. You came back. I promised, I remind him. Yes. He agrees. You did. Epilogue. 3 months later. The library has a new room now, the 13th. It's small, cozy, filled with journals and loose paper and ink that stains my fingers. My writing room, Damien calls it. The place where I record the stories of our pack, preserve the tales that matter. Tonight, I'm writing our story. The disaster that became beautiful. The mistake that became intentional. The curse that became a kind of blessing. Damien enters quietly, carrying 2 glasses of moonflower whiskey. Still writing? Almost done. Just the ending. And how does it end? I smile, setting down my pen. It doesn't, it just continues. The beast and the girl, learning every day how to choose each other. Figuring out what love looks like when it's messy and cursed and unexpected. He kisses the top of my head. Sounds like a good story. The best kind, the real kind. Through the window, I see the pack gathering for the evening run. Margaret is teaching young wolves to fight. Thomas, who eventually apologized and is now proving himself through dedicated service, helps coordinate patrols. The pack isn't perfect, but it's ours. Do you ever regret it? I ask quietly. Marking me by mistake? Damien considers this seriously. I regret that I called it a mistake for so long, that I let the curse convince me to question what my heart knew from the beginning. He pulls me close. But marking you, choosing you? That's the one thing I've never doubted. Not really. Not even when I was seeing 3 versions and terrified of picking wrong. Which version do you see now? Just you, Pamela, my mate, my Luna, the woman who gave me riddles about love and taught me that being cursed doesn't mean being broken. He tilts my face up. The woman I plan to spend the rest of my life choosing. Every single day, in every single moment. That sounds like a promise. It is. He grins. I'm getting better at those. Later, we join the pack for the run. I ride Damien's wolf as always, wind in my hair, bond singing between us, surrounded by 300 wolves who've learned that Luna doesn't have to look one specific way. And as we race through moonlight, I think about the tree's words, you are not broken, you are becoming. Maybe that's what we all are, broken things learning to become whole. Cursed things learning to become blessed. Mistakes learning to become choices. Maybe that's what love is, in the end. Not the promise that we're perfect, but the promise that we'll keep choosing each other anyway. Even when it's messy. Even when it's cursed. Especially when it started by mistake. Because sometimes the most beautiful stories begin with the words, I didn't mean to. And end with, but I'd choose it again. Every single time.